Hey yo guys, time for my TNA Slammiversary review. TNA Slammiversary happened last night from the DeSoto Center in West Mississippi or something, I forget now. But they were building it as it was from Memphis, Tennessee. The pay-per-view started off with a good normal video, one of their best production videos, I gotta say, referencing old Elvis songs to basically the matches that were happening tonight and the wrestlers. So after that we got the first match, which was the X-Division Championship match. Maple Leaf Muscle Petey Williams with Scott Steiner and Roxxi versus Kaz. This match was awesome. This is the best opening match I have seen all year. So I will give TNA big props for that. I mean, you guys know me. I mean, I'm comparing any Ring of Honor show, Chikara show, UWA show, even CZW, AAA, CMLL, Japan, Noah, New Japan, Dragon Gate. This was the best opener I have seen this year. I mean, they actually let them wrestle. They did chain wrestling at the start. They had a series of pinning combinations. Built it up well. I mean, you just had your chain wrestling and stuff. You had stuff not too spotty in the middle. You have your guys hit big moves. And then you'd build it up to make it so dramatic, like you would get involved in the match. I mean, Christ. I mean, Kaz had a... Williams did his tornado DDT off the apron. Williams did a slingshot Ronda to the floor. Kaz did a Fluxicapacitator when he picked, or the Wave of the Future when he picked Williams up off the mat, and he nailed him with... They tried to do a WWE WrestleMania 13 moment when Williams had Kaz in the sharpshooter and Kaz was busted open after he got hit in the face with the pipe. And then Kaz gets a defeat when after all this attempt, Kaz got hit with the Canadian Destroyer by Williams for the win. And then Steiner basically went for a beatdown, saying that he didn't deserve the belt or title shot the next night on Impact, and he was going to... And then Abyss made his return and he hit Black Hole Slams on Williams, Steiner, and Roxxi. This was just an awesome match. Big thumbs up for TNA for putting this one on. I mean, you have hopes for such a great match to happen, and then when it happens, it was just so great to see. So I was looking really forward to this show. Then we had the next match, which was the 6-woman tag. The Beautiful People and Moose. Yeah, that's what they named Mickey Knuckles. Fucking Moose. I mean, who honestly thought that was a good name? I mean, this is up there in some of the worst names in the history of pro wrestling. This is worse than Mantar, Duke the Dumpster Drozy, Bastion Booger, and now we have Moose. This is the worst name I have heard in a very long time. I mean, she can't... why couldn't you have just left her with Mickey Knuckles? I don't know why you just... Oh my god, it's just so upsetting. And they took on Gail, Kim, ODB, and Roxxi. This match was pretty good. I mean, I kind of like the start where how the Beautiful People's Angelina Love and Velvet Sky played the typical bitches, where I thought, you know, they were going to hang Moose out to dry. And I will say her name like that, Moose, from the rest of this video, okay? I mean, the match was pretty good and all. I mean, they had psychology with Moose and the rest of the Beautiful People working over Kim's injured knee. Basically, then the finish came when ODB got a running power slam on Moose for the win. This one dragged on a bit too long, but still it was a pretty decent match, and the Beautiful People will continue to hype this up, and, you know, I think they can put on a better match eventually down the line. Then the next match was the TNA Tag Team Championship, LAX versus Team 3D. This one was I mean, I thought they could have had a bit better match. I mean, Team 3D are just so stale right now. I mean, yeah, they're great on the mic and they add something, but when then they have to get in the ring, it really sucks that they have to get in the ring. I mean, Bubba did a Mr. Perfect freaking neck breaker, like a neck snap. He just flipped over. I mean, that just shocked me that Bubba would pull that off. Then Hernandez did his typical dive over the top rope, and Homicide did on Hilo when Don West was marking out like crazy. Homicide did a jawbreaker off the top rope, and then the finish came when before that Salinas did the was up spot, which was kind of cool, and the finish came when Homicide rolled up Bubba when they were setting up for the 3D. So that was the match. It was a meh match, really, so nothing you can get too excited about. Then the next thing was Kong's $25,000 open challenge, and she first took on a girl named Sarina, absolutely destroyed her, hit her with an implant buster for the win, and then even before that she did that move where she nails you in the guardrail. That was good. I mean, they picked her because she did a MMA. Then she picked some girl named Josey or something like that. Josey had a bit of hope and stuff, but still, she felt the wrath of the Awesome Bomb, and that was it. And they could have at least obviously picked someone like I said in my prediction, Medusa or Lita or Trish Stratus or Dawn Marie, someone credible with a name, not these OVW WLW workers. Like Christ, that should have been on Impact. I will tell you that. That should have been right there in the middle of Impact. Or if you didn't have, you should have had a big name. You should have had that in the middle of it. Then we get to the wedding. Yeah, the wedding was, at first, it was fun at first when you had Dut come up with the Aladdin hat, you had Kamala, you had Jake Roberts, you had Coco Beware, you had George Steele, the legends come out. Kamala came out in a suit, which was cool. And then they get to the wedding and stuff, and not even like 3 minutes into this, other than the introductions, basically they shoot to the end. Dut's gonna turn heel, he says, yeah, I want to marry you. Val's crying for like no fucking reason. Then, Dut grabs the worst weapon ever, which is, like, the thing that holds the flowers, which is made of paper, basically, paper wood. Then, after that, he punches Ace Steel in the face, which I'm fine with. He's getting the advantage. He's getting the heat on him. But no, that just ends within a millisecond. Kamala gets in there. Coco gets in there. They start beating the crap out of Dut. He loses his heat in, like, a second. So Roberts puts the snake on him. Coco Beware goes crazy, breaks everything. Animal Steel eats a turnbuckle. Sanjay Dutt looked like the biggest joke in pro wrestling. This should have been booked where Sanjay Dutt beat the living shit out of Kamala, George Steele, Jake Roberts, Coco Beware, Ace Steel, so he could be this awesome heel in the X-Division. The X-Division is so limited on heels that it's not even funny. They really just have Johnny Devine, and Petey Williams is barely a heel until his finish comes. This would have been so good to have that, but then they fuck it up in the booking. It's just so upsetting. Now the match is just tainted. This thing had technically been built up for a whole year, and now it's just, I don't care for it anymore. Oh my god. Then the next match was AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle, and thank God this was good. This was a good match. Damn sure really liked it. Give props to Kurt Angle. I mean, you could tell he was hurting with his neck in there. I mean, they did some crazy spots. I mean, Styles did his flip over the top rope, and his leg nailed Angle right in the neck, and you could see him grimace in pain. So I was a little worried about him. I was worried about from there on in the match, when he was doing Germans, and he let Styles do a release overhead German suplex. And then, there was a Angle slam off the top rope. Styles basically dropped Angle face first on the mat from the top rope. And then the finish came when Karen came down, grabbed the chair, was going to give it to Kurt, held onto it. Then Kurt got nailed in the Styles clutch. This match was really good. I'm looking forward to this to continue, and it obviously will, since after the match, Kurt put a beat down on and Tomko held off security, so this was a damn good match. Much better than I expected considering Angle's neck. So Angle, true professional there, but I was really worried for his health. And apparently he was fine after it, so that's a good thing there. Then we go to the main event, which was the King of the Mountain. Before we even get to this match, we have to wait like 20 minutes because they did little vignettes for the guys before they even got out there. And then they had to do the big UFC MMA hype-up introduction, which, they normally do for it, but you didn't really need to do it in this one. We know this is the TNA main event here, and we all know about it. I mean, you didn't have to hype up this match during the pay-per-view. People have spent their money. That's what you do on Impact. They spent their money. They just want to see the match now. But all in all, this was a typical match. You got the brawling like you expected. Not a lot of guys really paired up and stuff, but you did get your brawling. There was even brawling in the penalty box, which I liked, because, that's what you should do when you have two people in there. I mean, Cage did a lot of spots in this one. Cage hit a dive, a twisting crossbody press off the penalty box. He even did a frog splash off the penalty box onto Booker T, who was in the Coquina clutch. Booker then got the belt. He nailed everybody, even Nash with the belt. But then Nash got back in and gave him a jackknife powerbomb to end his chance of becoming TNA champion. And then Joe hits the muscle buster on Roode, grabs the belt, runs up, and puts the belt up in a very uneventful finish. I mean, this was good, but this is definitely the worst King of the Mountain match in history of King of the Mountain. But overall, it was a good pay-per-view. I will go give you a thumbs up. Or actually, I'll give you a thumbs in the middle. I don't know. I don't know. I really enjoyed some of it, but still, that wedding and the Kong hurt this. I maybe have to go a thumbs in the middle. Or I'll give it thumbs up. What the hell? Thumbs up. This is a good pay-per-view. I would maybe avoid seeing parts of it. Just watch the first match, Styles, and maybe even King of the Mountain just to see how that turned out. But anyways, that's it for me. I'm out. Peace.